robust discussion on the budget. I understand 83 speakers have participated in the discussion, and that actually shows the interest that honorable members have taken on the topic. After a brief introduction, which I would like to begin with, I'd go by issues, clubbing several members who have spoken on a particular issue, and so on for various different issues. And I'll also try to refer to the names of the honorable members who have raised these issues and while answering. Sir, this budget of 24-25 is actually a continuation of the interim budget. So the features of the interim budget, the critical aspects of it, are naturally subsumed into this regular budget. And since 2014, the principle which has guided us is the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, which continues in this budget as well, and hopefully will guide for the next 5 years. The 5 years being, this set of 5 years being very critical in taking the first steps towards building a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. This budget strikes a fine balance amongst several overriding priorities. Growth, employment, welfare spending, capital investments, and fiscal consolidation are all equally given a place, and we've tried balancing all of them. Sir, I had promised in this House in 21-22 the government would endeavor to attain a fiscal deficit to the GDP level below 4.5% by the year 25-26. We had reached an unprecedented high number of 9.2% in 2021, and we are well on track to attain that target. According to the IMF, India's share in the global growth is 16%, and it is also rising. While this budget seeks to consolidate our earlier accomplishments, I have announced a slew of measures aimed at providing renewed impetus to the manufacturing sector. I would just like to take a few minutes on expanding on this. The aim is to boost domestic employment, create employment opportunities, and ensure high and sustained increase in India's share in the global GDP over the next 5 years. Several measures have been taken. In this budget in particular, we had mentioned about the basic customs duty, which has been reduced, and on specific items. Together with the production linked incentives given for mobiles, India now already produces 97% of all the total mobile phones in demand in the country. And 30% of total production in India in the year 24 has gone for exports exclusively. So India's production-linked incentive scheme stands out as a successful scheme, taking this one example, and in the other 13 sectors, 14 together, 13 sectors also, we see a lot of interest in investing and producing so that India becomes a manufacturing hub. The production-linked incentive scheme, which was brought in because we wanted to attract a lot of investment into India, is seeing a lot of interest and continues to see a lot of interest in investors. Further, in this budget, we also set up a critical mineral mission for domestic production and for recycling of critical minerals. We also are envisaging overseas acquisition of critical mineral assets. Further, we fully exempted customs duty on 25 critical minerals and reduced the basic customs duty on 2 of them. 2 were differentiated from the rest for particular reasons. So reduction in 2 and full exemption for 25 other critical minerals. I've also announced, sir, the development of investment-ready plug-and-play industrial parks in and around 100 cities of India. So that would immediately be a big attraction for people to come and set up businesses, being closer to cities that will enable them to have good skilled workforce to be employed. We are working towards establishing 3 centers of excellence in top education institutions for realizing the vision of make AI in India and make AI work for India. That was mentioned in Budget 22-23. We are further strengthening the artificial intelligence excellence centers being built in top education institutions. So in March 2024, government approved e-vehicle policy to promote India as a manufacturing destination so that e-vehicles with the latest technology can be manufactured in our country. So furthermore, I go back to the point that I had made in 2021 budget about the new public sector enterprises policy, which clearly opened up all sectors in India for private participation also. Public sector will continue in critical core sector and strategically important sectors, but private sector has been now allowed into every sector, none of which is reserved for public sector alone. I take the example of the space sector, sir, here. Opening up has helped, and today space sector startups are receiving funds, and India is now becoming a big hub for space sector innovation and space sector startups. The recent newspaper announcements have been clearly stating the kind of investment interest which is being generated. The figures are not readily available with me, but I know that 126 million US dollars funding was received by startups in 2023. But that continues, the flow continues. Further, both in the last year's budget and this year's, sir, we have allocated resources for the National Research Foundation under the National Research Foundation Act of 2023. This time also Anusandhan National Research Foundation has had allocation be made. Last year itself, we declared 50,000 crores for over 5 years for research for research along with private sector. So in these ways, we have tried making India an attractive manufacturing destination and given good incentive and impetus for manufacturing to set up business in India. So a brief look at some highlights of the numbers that I want to speak about. The total expenditure in the Union government's budget statement 24-25 is 48.21 lakh crores. The total expenditure in the regular budget 24-25 is 54,744 crores more than that of the interim budget which was presented in 1st February this year. So the highlight that I would like to draw the attention of the honorable members is that capital expenditure is pegged at 11 lakh crores. And this is one of the biggest ever allocation made for capital expenditure. And this shows a 17% increase over the provisional actuals of February of FY 23-24 over the last year. 17% increase over the last year. But in this context, I would like to highlight one important fact about the capital expenditure which happened during the UPA era. Capex allocation was 13.19 lakh crores between 2004-5 to 2013-14. the 10 years of UPA saw 13.19 lakh crores, whereas during our 10 years ending 2024, the allocation for capital expenditure is 43.82 lakh crores. So the emphasis that we've given, particularly after COVID, for the capital expenditure being one of the very important routes through which the economy revival can be planned, has actually shown result, but the actual numbers are these. So there is also interest among members to know if the transfer to the states has been proper and as has been recommended by the finance commissions. I would like to underline that our unflinching commitment to cooperative federalism, the total resources proposed to be transferred to the state this year, 24-25, is estimated to be 22.91 lakh crores. This actually entails an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores over 23-24. Even compared to last year, it's an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores. Similarly, the outlays for all union territories has also increased from 61,118 crores in 23-24 to 68,660 crores in 24-25. So the states and the union territories are clearly getting in time the resources which are expected to be released for them. Although the budget documents have details of different schemes, I'm moving over to this point about sectoral allocations. So there is this interest to know if the allocations for certain particular sectors have increased or decreased. I would like to just give a comparative picture, sir. Agriculture and allied sectors in 24-25 received 1.52 lakh crores, which is 8,000 crores more than the last year. There is no reduction. Just for comparison, 2013-14, when the UPA government term was over, they had given only 30,000 crore. 30,000 crore then, 1.52 lakh crores now. Sir, education, employment and skilling, 1.48 lakh.
Please, honorable members, Finance Minister is speaking. Please. Yes. Honorable Finance Minister.
Sir, 24-25 budget for education, employment and skilling is 1.48 lakh crores, and it is 28,000 crores more than the last year, whereas again 2013-14 it was only 85,000 crores. Women and girls, 3.27 lakh crores in the current budget, which is 41% more allocation, 96,000 crore more allocation compared to the previous year. 96,000 crores it was in 2013-14. Similarly, for rural development, sir, 24-25, the current budget gives 2.66 lakh crores, 28,000 crores more than compared to last year, and it was just 87,000 crores in 2013-14. Urban development, 83,000 crores and 7,000 crores more than the last year, 12,000 crores in 13-14. Health and social welfare, sir, 1.46 lakh crores. Compared to last year, it is 74,000 crores more. 3,000 crore more than last year and 74,000 crores more than 2013-14. So also already mentioned about the fiscal deficit. I just want to highlight that we had projected 5.1% of the GDP as the fiscal deficit in the interim budget, whereas now when we presented the regular budget for this year, it has been brought down further to 4.9%, and we aim to reach the deficit below 4.5% next year, sticking to the glide path given in 2021. And it was also said in the budget speech that from 26-27 onwards, our endeavor will be to adhere to a path that ensures that the central government's debt as a percentage of GDP is on the declining trend. Our focus will be on that. So I'd like to mention in this August House that the weighted average yield, which is broadly the one which corresponds to the average cost of borrowing of the central government securities issued during the 10-year period of 2014-15 to 2023-24 is lower by about 60 basis points than the period between 2004-5 to 13-14. This is, and I'm giving a very notional idea, sir, but it helps to put things in perspective. If the borrowings in UPA 1 and UPA 2 were near the rates obtained by us, I know it is determined by so many other factors, market and so on. But if the borrowings in the UPA 1 and 2 were near the rates obtained by us, which could have been possible if they had our policies and our kind of credibility, it would have resulted in notional interest savings of approximately 35,000 crores for the government. Just to bring in the perspective, it can always be questioned, saying, oh, how can you bring in notional? But it's a perspective, sir. This points to recognition of this government's fiscal management and the management and this observation, the government's fiscal management prowess is an object. It's an observation of global observers, domain experts, and of course, dispassionate economists, that the fiscal management of this government, which is a typical good feature which the Honorable then CM of Gujarat and now PM of country has always maintained fiscal prudence as one of the very important governance principles. Honorable members, therefore, would be pleased to know that with all these governance macroeconomic stability related features, the IMF has recently upgraded India's gross domestic product growth in the year 24-25 to 7%. So from an exceptionally low hit GDP growth during COVID, within a few years to rise to be the fastest growing economy in the world, I think could not have been possible without the hard work and toil of all Indians, irrespective of the sectors in which they are, farmers, workers, informal sector workers, construction workers, and all the entrepreneurs, the MSMEs and so on, and the visionary leadership which has a futuristic vision, because from the front, the Prime Minister leads the economy, we are able to achieve this goal. So I also presented the budget for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. I just want to highlight a few important features before I move on to responding to honorable members' issues which they had raised on the budget. So I'm happy to inform that the concrete steps that have been taken by the Union Territory administration to free itself from the legacy fiscal distress related issues which they had inherited from the erstwhile state. And this has borne good results. With substantial financial support given by the Government of India, 17,000 crores have been provided as support in the Union budget of UT this year. The fiscal deficit to GSDP ratio of the Union Territory of J&K is estimated at 3% for the financial year 24-25. There is clearly a sign that public finances of UT of Jammu and Kashmir is now back on the rails. The government has worked very hard, unhindered, towards fulfilling the development aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir with great sense of fiscal responsibility. Because I'm dealing with Jammu Kashmir budget now and later I go to the general budget, there are issues which have been raised about J&K budget, which has been tabled in this House, both inside and outside of this august House. Now, I take this opportunity, with your permission, sir, to address issues which have been raised in this House, and equally, because of importance given, of those issues which have been raised outside as well. So the first issue is borrowings have risen from 12,000 crores to 24,000 crores in the last 2 years, and it is unprecedented, and it shows fiscal mismanagement. This is an allegation. I'd like to respond, sir. Unlike other states and union territories, J&K has been plagued with pressures from externally sponsored terrorism. This is not a secret, all of us know it. In addition, historical legacy of poor governance, and I reiterate this point, sir, historical legacy of poor governance and low revenue base had created a situation of near perpetual distress and dependence on the union government. Just no way in which the state could have run without the union helping them, and that is how the main feature of J&K's state's budget was, and also the economy was. With given this kind of a legacy inheritance that we've got, as part of the efforts to correct lingering fiscal distortions and for enabling transparent disclosure of the fiscal situation, the Union Territory Administration has brought off-budget borrowings onto its books. This has been done within the borrowing ceiling allowed to the Union Territory in each of the years which have gone by. So this is something which I have to state with conviction, that the UT was permitted to undertake additional borrowings against unutilized borrowing space from the previous years to take off-budget borrowings on the budget and finance its expenditure commitments. So the questions also, or the allegations also, were that fiscal deficit was pegged at 1.6% and it has turned to 5.36 in FY24, more than 3 times the original estimate. And also that the capex has been slashed by 10%. The question therefore was, will the central government take blame for fiscal profligacy at the state level? I'd like to dispel any confusion in the minds of people. Along with the special support of 17,000 crore, which has been announced in this budget from the union government, several other things are happening along with the efforts in recent past would reduce the fiscal deficit, and I hope it will reduce the fiscal deficit to 3.3% actually in 24-25. So it's not just the 17,000 crores that has been given as a special support, but also because of the efforts which are being put in the last few years, I think fiscal deficit will be back at 3%. While tax revenues, sir, have seen impressive growth, efforts on metering has improved billing and collection efficiency in the power sector. And that has also resulted in non-tax revenues increasing from 5,148 crores in 22-23 to 6,500 crores in 23-24. It's a big reform step that has been taken, well received by the people, and as a result of which we are able to have collection efficiency in the power sector. And I appreciate the J&K administration for having taken this effort, which is showing results for its own benefit. The Union Territory has also very important points, and this is a point which I submit to your consideration and for the August House to recognize, that the Union Territory has discontinued the earlier practices of running hundis and overdrafts from J&K Bank for its day-to-day cash management. This was a feature, sir. Every year, this would literally be a burden on J&K Bank, and equally a lazy comfort for the administration, that they could do this operation with the J&K Bank and get away with being transparent in the way in which they handled their accounts. I'm glad that this practice has been discontinued. During the last 4 years, the J&K Bank has made a remarkable turnaround from a loss-making bank of 1,139 crores of rupees in 2019-20. The bank has now made a profit of 1,700 crores in the year 23-24. So that is the kind of turnaround, and that's the kind of efficiency with which the bank is now performing, being run professionally since after 2019. Capital expenditure for the Union Territory, sir, has also increased from 10,634 crore rupees 22-23 to 12,101 crore in 23-24. So recording a 13.8% growth. So J&K Union Territory and their situation is in a healthy fiscal situation, being able to meet the development aspirations of the state. One other point of criticism, if I may say so, has been that the state's tax to GDP ratio increased from 5 to 8% in 3 years. Does this mean the people of J&K are subject to heavy taxation without any corresponding increase in their welfare? This is one of the questions asked. I like to highlight, sir, that the J&K situation, J&K's higher tax to GDP ratio is due to better compliance and effective monitoring of the taxation system. I'd like to mention that with the introduction of GST, tax rate across the country is the same on all GST products. The rate of taxation on non-GST items are either at par with other states or only lower and not higher in J&K. Revenues from GST, motor spirit tax, excise, stamp duties were 9,467 crores in 2019-20. It has increased to 13,903 crores in the year 23-24. So the administration is showing efficiency in collecting from non-GST tax also. And as a result, the fiscal health of the state is also improving. So the UT has also given care to expand the dealer registrations, improve GST return compliances, initiated a lot of e-stamping systems, and conducted transparent excise auctions. Very important, sir. Transparent excise auctions. So that itself gives a lot of confidence about the way in which J&K administration is moving. On the employment rates, 15 to 59-year-olds, the unemployment rate has come down from 6.4% in 2020-21, gradually to 5.7% in 21-22, and to 4.4% in 22-23. This has become possible because of substantial public investments that have led to creation of avenues of employment opportunities. Sir, I'd like the honorable members and yourself, the honorable chair, sir, to listen to the next issue, for which I will give my response. But I'm a bit concerned about the way this kind of a charge has been made on the union government. Sir, the allegation is, and I read it, perhaps the most worrying development is the FM's announcement that the union government has agreed to take the entire burden of the budget of police in J&K by spending 12,000 crores. It further goes to say this was earlier being done by the union government as part of the security reimbursement expenditure. Why hasn't that been, or why has that been repackaged from a reimbursement situation is the question. Further, has the police salary liability been taken over by the union government in perpetuity is also a question. To add to it, and this is the most interesting part, sir, does it reflect the government's intention to rule the state from Delhi in perpetuity by retaining home affairs of J&K with the union government? Will the FM commit in the House that taking over police salary liability is not a Trojan horse? I'd like to respond to this, sir. The scheme on reimbursement of security-related expenditure continues even today. So it has not been discontinued. Had it been discontinued, you will have the suspicion. But when it has not been, why would you have the suspicion in the first place? Or is it being not cared for, or you want to put it in the side and still generate a conversation based on just your apprehensions? I'm not sure if it is a responsible way to approach this issue. Second, sir, if at all, and I'm saying this with a bit of a hesitation, but I want to say this. If at all, sir, there was a Trojan horse as regards J&K, it is Article 335A and Article 370, which were the real Trojan horse, because it was not even made as a part of the constitutional amendment. It was just put in the appendix as though that's also part of the constitution, but it was not duly brought as a constitutional amendment. But for those who are carrying that constitution nowadays and showing it, they should explain to us, was that not a deceit? And is that not the Trojan horse to keep J&K not integrated with India? With that done, with that kind of a Trojan horse approach, you're asking us that when we take the burden of J&K police money, so that the J&K administration will have more money to do developmental activity and the center can take the salary of the J&K police, to insinuate that this is being done with an intention of for perpetuity. I'm sorry, this entire approach is making me wonder if this is being done deliberately so that there can be a kind of a, atmosphere created of doubt about India, about India's governance, about India's federal structure. This approach, I'm sorry to say, sir, is not healthy. And to just put it out, to say that this is how we perceive it. You've been in governance for more than 70 years. Not 70, 50, 40 years. I'm sure you understand the significance of what is going on and the way in which that state is being restored back to be a part of India. We belong to a party, sir, which firmly believed from the beginning, from 1947, Ek Desh, Ek Nishan, Ek Vidhan, unlike the Congress party. Sir, and I'm afraid to say, separatists who are self-proclaimed are coming into the Congress party with red carpets thrown for them to come in. Separatists who were the ones who caused permanent and perpetual problem there. Now, post 2019, we are at least being able to develop the state even as we are containing terrorism. Whereas now, like earlier, terrorists are being self-proclaimed terrorists are also being welcomed in the Congress party, sir. Sir, therefore,
Not yielding. She is not yielding. Mr. Randeep Surjewala, she is not yielding. Okay, go ahead.
sir,
Please,
threat to
let's not have this
cooperative
practice.
federalism.
This side also, please.
Threat to cooperative federalism is a topic on which there's been a lot of discussion based only on the fact that the budget speech mentioned only 2 states and it did not mention other states. Yesterday in the Lok Sabha too, I addressed this matter, sir. I wanted to highlight the fact that total resources allocated to transfer to the states in BE 24-25 is 22,91,182 crores. And that's an increase of 4,93,645 crores over the last year. So transfer to the states are going unhindered as per the recommendation of the Finance Commission. And I'll further elaborate that when I come to some of the members who have raised questions in particular on that topic. So, sir, in this respect, again, the threat to cooperative federalism issue has been raised by several honorable members, inclusive of former Finance Minister Chidambaram, Jawahar Sarkar, N.R. Elango, Shri Honorable Member Shanmugam, C.V. Shanmugam, and also Muhammad Abdullah. So there are many members who have raised this. And on that, sir, if the inference is that I've spoken about only 2 states and left the others out, it means monies are not even going to those states, is an immediate propaganda after the budget was presented in the House, which was taken up in a big way by the India Alliance. It can't be India Alliance here. India Alliance, or say I.N.D.I.A. India Alliance. Sir, therefore, what is the last A for? How can it be India Alliance? India Alliance.
Mr. Chidambaram, not while sitting. Please, you are a very senior member. Please, and maintain order. She not yielding.
Sir, if only 2 states were named and others were not, I just want to highlight what happened in the earlier budgets, which were presented by Congress-led UPA. Sir, in the interim budget of 2009-10, only Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were mentioned. All right, they came back to power in 2009-10. Did they increase it? Yes, they increased it. To how many? To 8. Rest 20 states were not even mentioned. Are they clearly going to have to admit now that they did not send any money to 20 states because they didn't mention it in the speech? So I went back to reading every one of them, sir. 2004-5, only 11 states were mentioned, 17 were not. 10 were mentioned in the next one, 18 were not. So like that, I can go on saying, does that mean during their time, for those states which they did not mention, they didn't send anything to their other states? No, even that wasn't true. They sent money to all states, but only chose to speak about some states. If that is true for them, but it can't be true for me, is it? Protest outside the parliament, say, oh, other states are being ignored. What a deliberate attempt to mislead people. And I condemn that. Sir, I'll just highlight this point, sir. On agriculture allocations. Agriculture allocation has come down, was the allegation and also a statement made. Several members have spoken on that. Shri Randeep Surjewala ji, Raghav Chadda ji, Rajni Patel ji, Sanjay Yadav ji, and Manoj Kumar Jha ji. I want to highlight, sir, that the budget allocation in 2013-14 for agriculture and farmers' welfare was only 21,934 crores, whereas 24-25, it has increased to 1.23 lakh crores, over 5.5 times in a decade. PM Kisan, sir, about which I'll also mention a bit later, more than 3.24 lakh crores has been disbursed to over 11 crore farmers. Institutional credit as a target for agriculture has increased more than 2.5 times since 2014-15, from 8 lakh crores to 20 lakh crores. Interest subsidy, which are given to farmers through Kisan Credit Card, has increased 2.4 times. Has increased 2.4 times since 2014-15, from 6,000 crores to 14,252 crores. KCC now covers animal husbandry and fisheries also. Small and marginal farmers, the number of accounts which are open for them and they avail agricultural loan has grown from 57% in 2014-15 to 76% in 23-24. Sir, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in 2016 to provide crop insurance coverage to farmers, and more than 1.5 lakh crores has been dispersed till today to the farmers. Agri Infra Fund, sir, was launched under Atmanirbhar Bharat package to address existing infrastructure gaps and mobilize investments. More than 35,200 crores have been sanctioned for 48,000 projects under the Agri Infra Fund. So the money collected, although as a cess, much against the allegation which is levied on us, saying cess money you retain. No, it is getting spent for, here in this case, for agriculture infrastructure creation. More than 23 crore soil health cards have been distributed to farmers, which provides farmers with the nutrient status of their soil and its composition. 1.8 crore farmers and 2.53 lakh traders have been registered on the eNAM portal, which is a national agriculture marketing place. In the last 10 years, more than 11 lakh crore have been spent to provide fertilizers to farmers at affordable prices. Government has also formulated agricultural export policy in 2018 in the country for the first time. This has led to agricultural exports reaching up to 4 lakh crores of rupees. A separate Department of Fisheries has been set up in 2019 and assisting farmers with schemes worth more than 38,000 crores, which have been implemented in the fisheries sector, due to which fish production has increased from 95 lakh metric tons to 175 lakh metric tons, almost double in the last 10 years. Sir, this is where this insurance-related point which I said earlier, I have to repeat. In its 2004 election manifesto, the Congress party promised to implement a comprehensive crop insurance scheme. However, it was not till the NDA, which came to power under Prime Minister Modi, Fasal Bima Yojana was implemented. They could have done it during their time, but no, it waited for a manifesto. But that was 2004 manifesto, and they had 10 years after that. They did not do anything on that. The Congress said it would examine the feasibility of direct income support to farmers. However, it was not till 2019 when Prime Minister Modi gave PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. They state things in their manifesto. It lies in the manifesto. No, they don't implement when they come to power. The failure of their flagship scheme, which is the loan waiver scheme of 2008, has been, I've mentioned this several times. I'm not taking the time of the August House, but the loan waiver scheme was not even fully implemented. In fact, many of the farmers were not given certificate that they've cleared their dues and everything, so that after that they can go and procure the loan from the banks, because without the certificates, bank wouldn't give. 38% farmers hadn't been given the certificate, and they are sitting, loan waiver gaya, loan nahi mila abhi. That is the halat, that is the careless and laid back fashion with which a sensitive subject like loan waiver had been handled by Congress party. So on health and education, Honorable Member Sanjeev Arora, Sujit Kumar, and also Sagarika Ghosh had raised question. National health policy of NDA targeted only 2.5% of the GDP on health sector. So total allocation under health increased from 88,000 in 23-24 to 89,000 crores in 24, 89,287 crores in 24-25. PM Swasth Suraksha Yojana. Under that, 15 new All India Institutes of Medical Sciences have been approved, of which 9 projects have been completed starting from 2014. In 10 years, 9 new All India Institute of Medical Sciences have been completed, whilst total of 15 have been given sanction. Similarly, sir, 17 government medical college institutes have been approved, of which 10 projects have been completed. So attention given to health in different forms is what I want to lay before you for the consideration of the House. Sir, PM Jan Arogya Yojana, 34.28 crore Ayushman Bharat cards were issued, 94,225 crores have been authorized for hospital admissions. So the out-of-pocket expense of patients are all being brought down because of the various measures which have been taken out. Under Mission Indradhanush, cumulative total number of children vaccinated is 5.42 crores. Cumulated total number of pregnant women vaccinated is 1.31 crores. So the Pradhan Mantri National Dialysis Program, sir, has been implemented in 748 districts at 1,485 centers, and it deploys 10,077 hemodialysis machines. A total of 23.33 lakh patients have availed of this facility of dialysis. 2.7 crore hemodialysis sessions have been held as of 30th April 2024. $10,000 PM Jan Aushadhi Kendras have been opened, and they provide 30 to 80% cheaper medicines, and medical equipments are also being made available, sir. Sir, on unemployment, several members have spoken. Randeep Surjewala ji, Raghav Chadda, Sanjay Yadav ji, P. Chidambaram ji, Jawahar Sirkar ji, Surjit Kumar, and also Sagarika Ghosh ji. Sir, first of all, I'd like to present before you that our policy is to make youth competent, saksham. For that, we also have brought in this time a package of 5 schemes providing employment in 3, and 1 for skilling and 1 for internship. This package, we hope, together with also 48 crore mudra loans worth 25 lakh crore which have been dispersed, where now we want to increase the 10 lakh limit to 20 lakh. All these put together, we expect there will be a big difference in terms of skilling and internship and for job creation. But the UPA era jobless growth is something which we cannot forget. It hurt India's youth the most because RBI's CLEMS data showed that the total employment declined from 47.2 crores in 2012-13 to 47 crore in 2013-14. And the only period of decline, that remains to be the only period of decline recorded since 1981-82. So when it is declined there, to recover from that, even during the period, not much was done. Formal employment also was badly hit during UPA, especially in the formal manufacturing sector. The annual survey of industries, which is issued by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, showed a sharper percentage decline than ever seen during the worst of COVID pandemic. So even during COVID pandemic, that is not the kind of decline we saw as was seen during UPA's time. So, sir, on the employment, our facts which are given by the PLFS, Periodic Labor Force Survey, shows that the labor market indicators for persons of age 15 years and above have steadily improved from 17-18 to 22-23. Labor force participation has also increased from 49.8% in 17-18 to 57.9% in 22-23. Women's labor force participation has risen to 37% in 22-23 from 23.3% in 17-18. The unemployment rate has declined from 6% in 2017-18 to a low of 3.2% in 22-23. Youth unemployment, that is the age between 15 to 29, has declined sharply from 17.8% in 17-18 to 10% in 22-23. Sir, this is the annual periodic labor force survey report which is given this. And further to reinforce the fact, the SBI research report July 2024, India created 12.5 crore jobs during 14 to 23 compared to 2.9 crores created between 2004 and 14. So the distinct increase in the jobs created during the 10 years under Prime Minister Modi's leadership has to be highlighted, sir. In the last decade, the employability of Indian youth has increased sharply, rising from less than 34% in 2014 to over 51% in 2024. And we'll further improve it through the PM's package on employment and skilling. So inflation. There's been a lot of discussion on that, sir. I'd like to give the data and also differentiate between the inflation which was present during UPA and our approach towards dealing with inflation now, so that we can see how inflation has been handled both under the UPA and the NDA. So we saw double-digit high inflation period under the UPA because of the policies which were reckless and inappropriate policies were taken on one hand and inept measures to control inflation on the other. Domestic inflation. So this is a very important statement, sir. Domestic inflation used to be higher than the global average. That is very significant to be noticed. Post the global financial crisis of 2008, UPA government took stimulus measures to boost the economy. The problem arose, and I'm sorry I have to say this, when economists who are repeatedly quoted to us saying, reputed economists, you're not that. When leaders of that stature did not know when and how to withdraw the stimulus which was brought in after the global financial crisis, did not know when to and how to withdraw the stimulus, leading to a high double-digit inflation between 2009 and 13. High fiscal deficit as a result, and debt as a result, crowding out private investment. Sir, between January 2012 and April 2014, retail inflation was more than 9% in 22 out of the 28 months. So let's understand the gravity of this inflation, which we have noticed during that time. No supply side measures were effectively taken in those days, and as a result, relief, even partial relief, was not available for the consumers. UP inherited a very stable macroeconomic environment. Atalji, when his term was over in 2004, had left behind a very strong Indian economy. Inflation was only at 3.8% from 99 to 2000 and to 2003-04. Comparatively, average annual inflation rose to 8.1% between 2004-05 and 2013-14. Where is 3.8% and where is 8.1%, sir? That's their record on inflation handling. high fiscal deficit, decreased prioritization of capital expenditure, and that contributed to sustained high inflation, averaging double digits. For example, sir, India's inflation averaged at 10.1% January to April 2013, compared to the average of 3.9% across all the emerging markets. If emerging markets are countries where we can compare ourselves, they were only at 3.9%, whereas you had UPA keeping our inflation at 10.1%. So, whereas to contrast this with our period, over the last decade, sir, India's average inflation was only 5.1%, lower than the 5.8% average among the emerging economies. So we are close to it and even lesser than the average of the emerging economies' inflation. That is the difference between UPA's handling of inflation and India's handling of inflation. Sir, Congress means mehengai is something the common man knows as well, because the common man's slogan used to be and continues to be Congress aayi, mehengai lai. This has been the parlance of the normal people. So, Congress matlab mehengai. Sir, I want to.
आपको क्या बोलना है? आपका अचीवमेंट क्या है? आपका फिजिकल अचीवमेंट क्या है? आपका फाइनेंशियल अचीवमेंट क्या है?
Sir. Okay, sir. Please, sir. Honorable Finance Minister. Honorable Finance Minister, please. Sir, sir. Sir, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, sir. 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 No, sir. Sir, please. She not yielding, sir. She not yielding.
Okay, I leave.
Sir, she not yielding.
Okay,
Sir, sir. Yielded. Okay.
रख के क्या करना चाहिए?
ठीक है. Yes. रुकिए. I hope, sir, there will be peace, calm, and camaraderie in the house, sir.
माननीय सभापति जी, अभी जो एलओपी ने विषय उठाया कि आप अपनी बात करिए और कांग्रेस के जमाने की बात ना करिए, ये जब भी बजट की चर्चा होती है तो वो हमेशा कंपैरेटिव टर्म्स में होती है. हमेशा हमको बताना पड़ता है.
Please. No. You had all the right to say so. नहीं, what is it, Nasir? You had all the right to, please, no, I don't appreciate it. Sorry, I don't appreciate. No, don't appreciate. What is this? Forget about it. Nothing is going on record. Why are you saying so, sir?
राज्यसभा में आने वाले लोगों के बारे में भी कांग्रेस पार्टी को सोचना चाहिए कि इस हाउस में चर्चा की गरिमा और चर्चा को कैसे आगे बढ़ाना है. मैं यहाँ पर सिर्फ माननीय वित्त मंत्री श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमन जी जो बात कह रही थी उनके पक्ष में हाउस को ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि बजट रिलेटिव और कंपैरेटिव टर्म्स में बताया जाता है. हमें अगर विकास बताना है तो हमको बताना है कि कहाँ से चले और कहाँ पहुंचे. हमको यह भी बताना होता है कि हम किस गति से चले और हमको यह भी बताना पड़ता है कि हमने एक लॉन्ग लीप ली है, एक लंबी छलांग ली है. और जब हम ये लंबी छलांग लेने की बात करते हैं तो हम अंधकार से उजाले की ओर जाते हैं. और उसका पर्यायवाची जब हम ढूंढेंगे तो 2014 के पहले अंधकार दिखता है और 2014 के बाद उजाला दिखता है.
Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister, Nothing will go on record. No, not yours. I'm asking another minister. Please take your seat. Only finance minister will address. Please. No. I can't open the debate. The debate is over. Please, no, sir. Only honorable finance minister will speak. We have to maintain some decorum in the house, and I'm glad we are improving a lot. Please.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. Sir, I do take what the Honorable Leader of the Opposition has suggested. What we do today is what I'm highlighting, and therefore also saying something similar of this kind didn't happen then. He may refute it, but it is a matter of fact, and I'm grateful for the intervention of the Leader of the House to state it in his nice Hindi, which I can't speak as well, to say what exactly it was. Getting out of Andhakar to go into Acha Roshni Wala, and that's what is happening now. So,
Honorable Finance Minister, but your Hindi is not bad.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Please. Honorable Finance Minister, please.
Sir, it is not just me who's talking about what had not happened then, and it's not just me who's talking about what kind of things had happened then. I'm saying what not happened then and what kinds of things happened then, based on eminent people and their words. Take, for example, what one former governor of Reserve Bank had to say. And I'm quoting, I'm not taking his name. I don't know if it is permitted, because I think people who are not members of this house, you should not name and so on. So I will just say former governor of Reserve Bank. In his book, he says, and I quote, "The finance ministry used to pressurize the RBI to soften interest rates and present a rosier picture of the growth to shore up sentiments. You were not able to perform in the economy, managing the inflation, giving stimulus to growth and leading the country to have better growth, but you're asking the RBI to give a rosy picture so that the sentiments don't get affected, because that sentiment and the kind of impact it was having on the economy is where we went to being fragile 5. And fragile 5 economy is a fact which was before them, but they couldn't act on it. Instead, they put pressure on Reserve Bank. So what you need to do constructively, you don't do. On the contrary, you do such things. And I'm not saying it. Reputed, respected, former bureaucrat who was also the governor of Reserve Bank has written it. So I want to just highlight, sir, whereas what kind of efforts we have made to keep inflation under control is something which I want to say now for members who have been very keen to know what is happening today. I'm telling you what's happening today. Please make a note of it. Sir, we implemented measures.
Mr. Basu, I'm coming to what they have said.
Sir, we implemented measures leading to a reduced average inflation of 4.5% in 14-15 to 2018-19, well within the RBI's target range of 2 to 6%. Sir, moreover, India's inflation during 2020 and 23 was much lower than the global average. So I want to highlight why it was so. Because competent and proactive measures were undertaken by the government to control inflation, and we managed to contain inflation at 5.7% from 2019-20 to 23-24, despite challenges which were unforeseen, and the size and the magnitude of COVID was something which all over the world, even today, has tarnished the economies, and they are not able to come out of it, whereas we have managed to be closer to the tolerance band given by RBI. Many countries faced 3 or 4 decade high double-digit inflation after the COVID pandemic. So I just want to list out the 5-year terms and the inflation rates which have prevailed. These are numbers which are already in public domain, but it's useful for us to compare so that we know what are policy-induced internal factors which drove UPA's inflation as different from NDA's inflation, which is largely driven by a pandemic and because of the global disruptions. So the difference between the inflation then and the inflation now are very clearly before us. NDA's period, sir, 5 years between 99 and 2004, retail inflation was only 3.8%. UPA 1, 5 years, it was 6%. UPA 2, 10.2%. So if you were to take 10 years of UPA 1 and 2, it was 8%, 8.1%. NDA 1, sir, between 14 to 19, 4.5%. NDA 2, 5.7%, sir. NDA 1 and 2 put together, 10 years, 5.1% inflation. Where is 5.1 and where is 8.1, sir, of the 10 years then, 10 years now? So we need to understand that even when very important steps were taken, like cutting down on the excise duty of petrol and diesel by the Honorable Prime Minister, twice, once in November and once in June of 23, November of 22, every state tried to reduce. But for political scoring of a point, Congress-ruled states did not. And even then and now, the inflation in those states, even if the change of government has happened, continues to be higher, and efforts to contain them is even being taken now also. They just didn't want to cut down. On the contrary, if I remember correct, our president and the leader of the house here is from Himachal Pradesh. The first thing the government did there after being elected was to increase the price of petrol and diesel. Now, the cry for inflation in this house, questions on what action you're taking to contain inflation. Congress government in Himachal Pradesh, a small state, increases the price. And here the lecture is about contain the prices, bring it down. Congress can do that. So was the effort, so was it in Karnataka. So in inflation and containment measures may be questions on us, and we are willing to answer. But what about those states which are being governed by Congress? The steps that we've taken, the steps that we've taken to control inflation, sir, strategic policies for targeting inflation have been taken. PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana is to make sure that people get the bottommost layer, poorest people get their grains at least, so that they can have some kind of assurance that they have something to feed their family with. Government continuously offloads wheat and rice from the central pool under the open market sales scheme to increase availability in the market. Steps that we are taking. To prevent hoarding and unscrupulous speculation, traders and wholesalers, big chain retailers, and processors were required to disclose their stock positions of wheat and rice. We follow them, we pursue with them, and then ensure that the stocks are coming into the market. Under the price stabilization fund, sir, a dynamic buffer stock of pulses is maintained, and calibrated release of stocks contain the price, and we keep procuring to increase the buffer stock. Basic duty on crude palm oil, crude soya bean oil, and crude sunflower oil was cut from 2.5% to nil, so that crude oil can come into India, edible crude oil, and that can be refined, creating jobs, at the same time making edible oil available in the country. The agri-cess on oils was reduced from 20% to 5%. So we are reducing the revenues that we are earning, but making sure people get affordable price commodities which are important. On January 15th, 2024, this duty structure has been extended to 31st March 2025. So edible oil can be distributed with affordable prices, sir. We have also taken measures to make sure basic items like atta, rice, chana dal, and moong dal are distributed in the Bharat Atta, Bharat Rice, and Bharat Chana Dal and Moong Dal branded so that they can be sold at affordable prices. Per kg cost of atta is 27 rupees 50 paise. Per kg price is 27.50. Chana is 60 rupees a kg. And Bharat Moong Dal is at 107 a kg, 93 for Sabut Moong Dal. These have been sold. 14.8 lakh, 7 lakh tons have been sold of atta, 13.98 lakh tons of rice, 11.52 lakh tons of chana dal, and 2,984.37 tons of moong dal, both put together, Sabat and Dula Hua, are sold, which means people are benefiting from the wholesale distribution, which is under the brand Bharat. So therefore, sir, I want to make sure that the efforts taken by this government to contain inflation are informed to the honorable members, and they know that we are taking the necessary steps. Quickly on Poshan Abhiyan, sir, and Saksham Anganwadi, the question which Sujit Kumarji from BJD had raised. Poshan and Saksham Anganwadi allocations have only increased and not come down. 20,554 crores in 23-24 to 21,200 crores in 24-25. On per capita income also, RJD Sanjay Yadavji has questioned. Sir, per capita income at constant prices grew at an average rate of 4% during 2012-13 to 2013-14. In all subsequent to those 2 years, except in 2019-20 and 2021, which were the pandemic years, the growth in per capita income at constant prices was higher than 2012-13 and 13-14. I can just read it out at constant prices, sir. 12-13 is 3.3, 13-14 is 4.6, and so on, except when in 2021 it was minus 8.9, it has recovered to be 5.7 now. So per capita income issue is also something I want to address. So this is a very important issue which has been raised, that arbitrarily we've been cutting the borrowing ceilings of non-BJP states. Sir, I want to completely dispel this baseless argument. Central government follows the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission for issuing borrowing consent financial year-wise uniformly to all states. Net borrowing ceilings of 3% of GSDP has been fixed for the financial year 24-25. Borrowing consent is issued to all states by adopting uniform parameters as per borrowing guidelines. There's no difference here. All of them are treated the same. Moreover, the 15th Finance Commission has also recommended performance-based additional borrowing space of 0.5 of GSDP. This is linked to the performance in power sector reforms. List of states, sir, which have fulfilled the requisite criteria related to power sector reforms and availed additional borrowing space of 0.5% of GSDP, I'd like to present before you, sir. In 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24. Example, West Bengal, 6,911. These are additional borrowing over and above the 3%, which is given unconditionally. 6,911 for 21-22, 8,352 for 22-23.
It is in crores or
7,200.
This figure is in what?
Crores.
Crores.
Crores. Sorry, thank you. So 6,911 crores, 8,352 crores, 7,276 crores for 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. If that is West Bengal, sir, Tamil Nadu, 7,054 21-22 crores, 5,775 crores, 9,656 crores additional borrowing allowed each year because of power sector reforms. That is Tamil Nadu, sir. Kerala, 4,060 crores, 21-22. 4,263 crores, 22-23. 4,866 crores, 23-24. Additional borrowing permission and availed these amounts are on record. Now, Himachal Pradesh is just now, so I can't give the figures straight away. 251 crores was allowed in 21-22, but we've not had any claim after that. I can read that for other states as well. So there is no arbitrariness here. On the Kerala issue, sir, I can't find Honorable Member John Brittas, because he did raise this issue in between when I was speaking. He's not here. But never mind, I'll say, sir, on the Kerala issue, sir, Honorable Supreme Court has also mentioned to the state to resolve the matter amicably with the center. It implicitly supported the stand of the center. They didn't say center is wrong. Thank you.
Don't take your seat. Take your seat. Take it. No, you are here, but not to interrupt, to listen. But sit down, sit down. Sit down. No, your name was referred because you were absent. Now that you are present, you will follow the decorous conduct. Please. No. This is not done. You are an experienced person. Sit down.
So on the Kerala issue, sir.
And Honorable Minister, a word of suggestion.